Hi, I'm Pratat Agrawal for Microsoft and I'm going to tell you about cloud computing by Windows Azure. Now before we talk about Windows Azure, let's think what it takes to run an application over the internet. Well, there are many things you need to think about, such as the operating system, of how you're going to keep it updated. You got to think about the network, the DNS servers and routers, how they're going to act up with your system. You need to think about the storage, how you're going to manage all that data, and about the scale, how you're going to scale up with all those people spread over the globe. Now for the list I just mentioned right now, there are two things I would seriously like to point out. First, everyone has to deal with it. No matter what they are trying to build, everyone has to. And the other, the four things I just mentioned are not actually helping you for what you are trying to build, your application. Now suppose there is a cloud, a whole service under one roof. Cloud where all the resources and information have been shared, they have been updated, and application designer can get them at a very low cost because they have been shared. Now suppose there is a cloud which can take care of all the four things, the operating system, storage and network, and let you worry about only one thing you really care about, your application. Now this way, you can make and run your application much faster. This was the idea behind Windows Azure, to make your application experience a better and faster way. Windows Azure is Microsoft's cloud computing platform, which makes it an area where application designers can run their application on wide scale. Windows Azure checks the whole web cycle, from internal designing, testing, analysis, to deploying it over to the cloud through just one click. And when your application is already over the cloud, it gives you the analysis, the scale of your application, and so that you can have a better understanding about your application and can again deploy it over the cloud with just one click, and this time a better version. Now something basic about Windows Azure. Azure comprises of three parts. First comes the fabric. Fabric are nothing but the set of abstract computers internally running on some Windows platform. Then you have the storage. Storage maintains and manages all the data that you're going to use. Now storage and fabric with all the APIs that you have used are being packed together using Visual Studio and is being delivered to you in an SDK form, which you can download, run on your computer and test your application locally before deploying it to the cloud. Now this was something about Windows Azure, but what makes Azure better than other cloud computing services? Well, it saves your cost, it saves your money. In Windows Azure, you have to pay for only those resources that you have used and only when you are using them. Now it's not like every time that you have to pay for them. It saves you a lot of money. You don't have to worry about the peak. You don't have to worry about your resources. You only have to worry about your application. Thanks to Windows Azure, which is making our application design experience so well. I'm Pratat Agrawal for Microsoft.